What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Artur, Beterbiev, Calum Smith. Get this, top rank, first time in a long time, wins the WBC Pursebid and offers more than Matchroom. Ooh. Unbeaten lightweight champion Artur Beterbiev's co-promoter won the right Tuesday afternoon to promote his WBC-mandated title defense against Calum Smith. Mauricio Suleiman, president of the WBC, announced that Bob Arum's Top Rank Incorporated offered slightly more than Eddie Hearn'S Matchroom Boxing at a purse bid conducted by the WBC in Guadalajara, Mexico. Top Rank's winning bid was 2.1, just 15,000 more than the 2.1 flat offered by Matchroom. So it was 2.115. Matchroom was 2.1. And which promotes Smith as champion. Beterbiev is titled to 70% of a 90% of the winning bid, a purse of 1.3. Smith's purse based on 30% and 90% of the winning base is 571,000. The remaining 10% of Top Rank's winning offer, 211,000, will be awarded to whoever wins the Beterbiev Smith match. Let me counterpunch. I like this fight. I think Calum Smith is a dangerous fighter. I like Calum Smith. I think, he has a dangerous hook, man. This guy's hooks will take you down. And someone like Calum Smith, David Benavidez, guys like that, I think they're tall enough and big enough to be fighting at light heavy anyway. And I'm a firm believer in a lot of these fighters that fight at certain weight classes. I think they should be fighting higher, okay, in a heavier weight class, for many reasons. For one, it's just naturally the thing to do. For two, I think they're naturally strong. For three, I think they starch themselves and deprive their body from the fluids and the energy that they need getting down to a weight they have no business being in, And I think that Calum Smith is one of those guys. But however, fighting at a lower weight sometimes depletes you from the energy. Or matter of fact, fighting at a lower weight makes you stronger sometimes. Fighting at a lower weight when you don't need to makes you weaker. Ask Roy, as Vinny Pazienza, ask a lot of fighters that have tried that shit for, far too long. Like Vinny was at 140 and he went to 160 and found out he can hit like a hand cannon. Okay, so these type of things happen. Hopefully that's Smith, because Smith is 6'2"? He's a big guy. But, what bothered me is on how he got whacked and beat up and bones rattled by Canelo Alvarez at 168. So let's hope for his sake going to 175 is the thing to do. It makes him stronger. He will be, at himself. He'll have more energy because he's fighting at a weight that his height, fits. Okay, so I think at the end of the day, that may be the case. Okay, so, but both guys, they are fighters, and Artur Beterbiev, I just love to see the savagery, the barbaric, mixed with, it's like organized chaos with him because he knows skill, but his intention is to go in, fuck you up. You know what I mean? Do you in. Bury you, Jack. Right? I think that's why people love him. I mean, it's a reason why he's 19-0 and 19 KOs, no losses, no draws, no whammies, right? No flaws, bars, right? So I think that this is going to be a good fight. It's on ESPN. And to say this about Bob just for a second, I think Bob knows that he's up against, he couldn't lose to someone like Eddie, okay? Because then it'll be on the zone, which doesn't make me any difference because I watch it because I got both platforms and I pay for both. So I'm good, I'm a happy camper. But nonetheless, it is surprising from Bob because Bob is that guy that normally loses these purse bids. He's that guy that's, I'm not paying more than $1 million. Fuck him. You know what I mean? And but understand, he barely done it, so to say the least, Eddie didn't fight too hard for that because he already knows that I think Eddie knows that I have bigger fish to fry. And I think that Eddie, he might have went to 2.1 20,000, right? He could have made it interesting by going up some, an extra 5,000 or extra 10,000 to see if Bob will budge or whatever. But it did also show that Bob was willing to put up that extra 15,000 to make it what it is. So there was no real struggle in who gets who. It wasn't a huge tug of war because of how close they were together, because they could easily be countered by the other side. So, Eddie, again, could have just, you know what, all right, fine. Let me give you 2.1 and $20,000. So let's see what you do. You know what I mean? So I think that's what happened with that. But Bob had to show and take some initiative, because Artur Beterbiev is not a guy that comes along every blue moon. He's a special talent. He may not seem like this guy that has talent per se, because you're seeing the savagery, you're seeing the punching power, you're seeing this true hard, gritty guy that's bleeding everywhere but still gets the knockout and, takes shots and gets in there and beats people up. He reminds me of really like a bigger version of Triple G, what Triple G used to do to people. You know what I mean? I just think he's, far more devastating, you know what I mean, based on his mentality. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you see Golovkin, dude. Golovkin did hit people with bad intentions, but Beterbiev is kind of like a little notch above and bigger, so I think Bob Arum acknowledges that, so he can't let his premier network fighters go to another network because he's too cheap, to put something legitimate or worthy on the table to keep the fight on that network. You know what I mean? So it's his duty to do exactly what he did. So shout out to Bob Arum. I gotcha, you little young bastard. You lanky young British fuck. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Bob Arum beating Eddie Hearn in the Pursebid, ESPN over Matchroom. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!